Today, we are exposing the Fidelity Cash Management Account, and we're going to go over the best features, the pros to cons, and I'm going to help you determine whether or not this cash management account is for you and whether or not it's worth it, because Fidelity claims they have a better way to bank. Is this really the case? Let's find out. Now, the first thing we need to understand when it comes to Fidelity Cash Management Account is the fact that this is not a bank account. It has a lot of features, basically all the features that you need from a bank, but it's not really a bank account. The Fidelity Cash Management Account is a brokerage account that allows you to spend, save, and invest. What exactly does this mean? What are the details that you must know before you sign up if you are ever considering this type of account? Let's get right into it. Now, before we zoom in and we go really deep into this topic, let's first establish the problem that this type of account solves, because regular banks are not good enough and you may be losing money. Number one, because traditional banks offer near zero interest rates while profiting from your money. Also, if you have $10,000 saved in a big bank, you might earn $1 or a couple of dollars per year while they make hundreds of your money. Of course, that's very unjust and unfair. I don't like it. And most people don't realize that they're losing money simply by parking it in the wrong place. All right, so for perspective and big picture, I've been using the Fidelity brokerage, not so much the cash management account, but the broker since 2015. I have some of my retirement funds with this organization. And so to give you a little bit of background on this specific financial institution, it's been in business since 1946. It's originally from Boston, Massachusetts, and it's all about investing. Brokerage accounts, retirement accounts, it's got health savings accounts, and of course, it's also got cash management accounts, which is the focus of today's video. Now, what makes Fidelity's CMA different? Now, the claim from Fidelity is the fact that it's an alternate way to traditional banking that can pay you more. So what does this mean exactly, you may be wondering? Now, this type of account is marketed as a checking/savings hybrid. That's actually the biggest difference with traditional banks, and it's essentially, like the way I see it, it's almost like a high-yield checking account. You have all the features from a checking account. We'll get into those here in a second. But at the same time, you have much higher interest rates than a regular checking account, because a checking account, of course, it gives you some of them give you a little bit of interest, but not as much as cash management accounts. Now, also, this type of account offers ATM fee reimbursement worldwide, which is very unlike most banks out there. And it also provides you with FDIC insurance up to $5 million. Now, we're going to get into the details and intricacies of what this means exactly. And Fidelity promises a smarter way to save and store your cash, but does it actually deliver? So let's go over the good, the bad, and what they don't tell you. Now, here is Fidelity's bold claim, and there's two options when it comes to cash management accounts. You have the Fidelity Government Money Market Fund and also the FDIC sweep program. Now, there's differences between these two types of options, and we're going to go into those to help you make the best decision for yourself. Now, overall, as a cash management account, the main features of this type of account, for lack of a better word, is that, as I mentioned, the ATM withdrawal fee reimbursement. We have deposits eligible for FDIC insurance, which of course gives you zero risk on your money, technically. Also, you have Cash Manager, like if you have alerts and self-funded overdraft protection. You have Fidelity Mobile, bill pay. So you can go over all of these features right here, and if you're gonna realize that this is essentially all you need, right? Like you're never gonna use every single one of these features, but if you ever need them, then they are there. At least that's been my experience with overall banking features. Now, one of the best features that stood out to me is the fact that this account offers free wire transfers. Now, if you're not familiar with wire transfers, from my experience when I used to work at a bank, they're used mostly for business purposes and to transfer money from one place to another fast. If you do a regular transfer, it may take a couple of business days, but if you do a wire transfer, then you're essentially paying for speed, which with Fidelity, you will get that for free, which I thought was, okay, this is actually a really, really good feature. Now, here is where I want to go into the details on the different type of cash management accounts that Fidelity offers, because one of them gives you a slightly higher return and also a slightly higher risk. So what does this mean exactly? So I made this table to help you visualize exactly what I'm talking about here. So let's go over the first row here over the interest. And that is, of course, when it comes to the FDIC deposit sweep program, they have right now a lower interest rate at 2.21%, and the government market fund is at almost 4%, right? So I think you can see the difference here. There's a slight higher risk with the government market fund. It's almost like no risk. It's very, very little risk, but it still offers you a little bit much higher interest rate, and it's also not FDIC insured, but there's something else that kicks in with the one on your right. Now, what it is, it's a cash spread across multiple partner banks. That's exactly what the FDIC Insured Deposit Sweep Program does. And essentially, this is a strategy that I've seen being used with many other banks out there, like SoFi, UFB Direct, Wealthfront also does this. So these types of organizations are able to give you a much higher FDIC insurance, as you see here at the bottom, up to $5 million with Fidelity. But essentially what they do is they act as a hub and they distribute your money amongst several FDIC insured banks, which are partners. And then that way they're able to give you a much higher FDIC insurance. Now, when it comes to the government market fund on the right, what it is, it's an investment essentially in super safe government debt, like loans to the United States. And they do provide you with SIPC, like SIPC protection, which covers failures of Fidelity if it ever happened, up to $500,000. Now, Fidelity adds $1.9 million extra cash protection beyond the SIPC. So that right there, just to give you the warm and fuzzy feeling that they are a stable organization. Like it's almost like me telling you, hey, if I fail, I'm going to give you $2 million extra. So that's how much confidence I have in me staying in business and not running into issues, right? So they've been in business for quite a while, since the early 1900s, in a way. So that just gives you right there a good warm and fuzzy feeling of trust and confidence, at least in my personal opinion. Now, when it comes to risk, this is exactly what I was referring to a little earlier. The FDIC Insured Protection Program, it got 0% risk because you have insurance up to $5 million. And technically with the government market fund, there is like a very, very little risk, but it's still worth mentioning just so that you know exactly what you're getting into. So now, with that being said, I want to go a little bit deeper into what SIPC means, because if you are somebody that is looking to use this money to invest and you want to earn higher interest and you don't have FDIC insurance, that may give you a little bit of a discomfort or unease feeling. At least it would be for me, right? So I just want to make sure that we understand exactly what this means. And right here, what you're seeing is the reference of Fidelity giving you extra coverage if it happens to fail. So the SIPC is like a seatbelt that only snaps into place if Fidelity crashes, right? If it goes bankrupt. So it protects you up to $500,000 in investments of stock, bonds, up to $250,000 in uninvested cash. It does not protect you against market losses, only brokerage failure. So here's an example. And I know that I'm going really deep into this because I think it's important to understand whether or not your money is insured. Right now, if you have $10,000 invested, let's say I invest in this market fund, $10,000 in there, and I still have $10,000 sitting in my checking account or my cash management account. So here's the way it will work. Your $10,000 in invested securities will be fully protected by the SIPC. Your $1,000 in cash would also be fully protected. Now, in this case, you would not lose any of your assets. The SIPC would work to ensure that your $10,000 in securities invested and $1,000 in cash are returned to you. And this process typically involves transferring your assets to another SIPC member brokerage firm. So here's the bottom line. The value of $11,000, essentially all the money that you have there, is well within the SIPC protection limits of $500,000 in total, including up to $250,000 cash. So this is going to help you gain a little bit more perspective on what this exactly means. Now, here's the pros of what Fidelity does, what Fidelity does right in my personal research and what I found. It's the high insurance that they give you up to $5 million. So no fees, no hassle, no maintenance, no overdraft fees, no ATM fees ever. and also the easy investment access, right? So you can move money instantly into stocks, ETFs, or retirement accounts, which is essentially the biggest benefit with these cash management accounts is having the money readily available whenever you want to buy something in the stock market. So for example, right now, as you can see, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's tariffs going on. And so the market has been going crazy. It's been crashing, like it's been going down. So in these cases, what many investors do, if you have the cash, then you start buying and you start moving your money depending on exactly what your goals are. But one of the things that I've learned from investing is when things start going down, then you don't sell, right? Like you buy more because especially with index funds, which is what I invest in, then you want to make sure that I make sure that I buy more so that because the market is going to recover eventually. So that's something that I've learned from Warren Buffett. Now, also you can open multiple CMAs like investment, retirement, saving. Like maybe maybe you have one account for your investing, another account for your retirement, another account for your savings. So it offers security, cost savings, and seamless investment access, making it great for cash reserves and investors. So everything a bank does plus investing features. But wait, of course, there is a downside that most people don't talk about, and that's exactly what we're going to get over in this part. Now, the hidden drawbacks are, of course, the interest rate is underwhelming. They offer lower than top high-yield savings accounts. And of course, the difference is the fact that this is not a high-yield savings account. It's not a savings account. It's a cash management account. It's also not a true high-yield savings account. It prioritizes liquidity over maximizing your returns. There's also no physical branches. If you need in-person banking, of course, this isn't for you. And you can't really deposit cash. So you would have to have a third-party organization where you have regular bank, let's say where you have maybe your direct deposit or maybe you have all the cash that you may or may not need and you have that available on the side, and that way you can just deposit cash at the bank or the ATM or whatever and then transfer it to your cash management account. So Fidelity is not the best choice if you want the highest interest rate on savings. So who is this account for? Now, if you have no interest in fees, which I hope that you don't. If you value zero fees, security, and investment access, Fidelity is a great option. It's perfect for investors who need easy access to cash, perhaps travelers who want free ATM withdrawals worldwide. It's also ideal for high net worth individuals needing high FDIC insurance up to $5 million. Again, this is not the only one out there that offers this feature, but it's one of the ones that perhaps is the most popular. And also, of course, it gives you the warm and fuzzy feeling. And just when you're familiar with an organization, then it gives you that confidence and trust, right? However, if you want higher interest rates on your savings, then there is a better way. And that is high yield savings accounts, which offer right now 4 to 5 times the interest of regular savings accounts. They can help you optimize your passive income strategy to grow your wealth effortlessly. I made a high yield savings blueprint that can help you start with high yield savings accounts and learn everything that you need to know how to choose the right bank, what to watch out for, what kind of security features, whether or not you pay taxes. So this guide right here, it's absolutely free. You can download it with the link in the description. And I'm also going to leave a link in the description for my recommended banks when it comes to high yield savings accounts. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.